Hope you're all enjoying the talks. Up next, we have a personal finance management platform committed to helping people across Asia and sharing how the group is helping consumers save time, money, and make better choices about personal finance. Welcome CompareAsiaGroup CEO, Sam Allen. Sam, over to you.
Thanks very much, Charles. Hi, my name is Sam Allen. I'm the CEO of CompareAsiaGroup. We're Asia's leading personal finance management platform. And today I'm going to spend some time talking with you about content, and in particular how we think about content, which is about building a trusted dialogue with our users. So first, let me give you a quick background on our company and what we're all about. At CompareAsiaGroup, we are passionate about empowering users across Asia to build healthier financial lives. The way that we do that is by working with consumers on one side and with banks and insurance companies on the other to help people with this most important area of their lives, which is making good personal finance decisions and building the right product portfolios for individuals. We've been doing this for 5 years now, and we're fortunate to have the backing of IFC, Alibaba, Goldman Sachs, Jardines, Ace & Company, among others. Now, you've probably never heard of CompareAsiaGroup, and the reason for that is that we actually operate 7 different businesses and different brands across the region. So what you will have heard of is Money Hero in Hong Kong, Money 101 in Taiwan, SingSaver in Singapore, MoneyMax in the Philippines, Money Guru in Thailand, Compare Hero in Malaysia, and Halo Money in Indonesia. These are our 7 businesses, distinct businesses across these markets in Asia. Why do we do this? Why do we have 7 different businesses, 7 different teams? And the reason is we need to meet consumers where they are, and they're in very different places. So if we think about Hong Kong, we think about credit cards, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore. We have users who for the most part are overbanked, right? We all have 5 credit cards in our wallet, and the questions as we're turning these over a couple of times a year are, how do I get incrementally better conversion on my miles? How do I get slightly better cash back? How do I use this for a discount and turn that over? And that's good, that's important, that's a question in Hong Kong. It's very different from a question in other countries like Malaysia, say, where there's really a deal-seeking behavior. So somebody says, all right, well, what's the welcome gift? How do I think about what a bank's willing to offer to engage with me and have that relationship with me? And that, of course, is very different from the problem that consumers face across much of emerging Asia, where it's not about benefits, it's not about the better conversion or miles, it's about access, right? In many of our markets, for the majority of the population, the question is simply, how do I get access to credit? I'm not so worried about time, I'm not so worried about miles, I just know that I need access to a few $100s, and I want to get it in a trusted way that's safe, where I know what's involved, where I know what's in the fine print, and I know this is a good thing for me. And so what's common across all 7 of these is that personal finance is so important. It's one of the most important areas of our lives, and yet it's really complicated. And one of the interesting takeaways for me from a conference like this is that fundamentally it's actually getting more complicated, because we all sit here as innovators and entrepreneurs and investors and disruptors, and we talk about lots of exciting new ideas, but fundamentally for a consumer, they actually make the world more complicated. Because again, if I'm looking to borrow a few $100s, whether it involves blockchain or there was an ICO involved and how much big data there was, and whether it was peer-to-peer or social or whatever else we're hearing on stages today, fundamentally it doesn't matter, right? If I'm a consumer and I'm looking for money, I just want to know, is it safe? How much does this cost? Is this a good thing for me? And that's what we're all about. How do we come together to help users on that most important topic of their life, which is their personal finance, and do that through a trusted conversation? So let's then look at how do we do that with content. So walking through the evolution of that here. What you see in the top left with the graphics there is what you probably think of with content. So this is articles to start with, right? And so the way that we think about content is we have 7 teams in each of our markets doing research, combing through the T's and C's, analyzing the numbers, understanding all of those fees, researching everything that's there, and synthesizing that into a way which is really easy to understand for a user. And we then want to present that to our users in a way which they can actually understand and engage with. So whether that's long-form content on our platform or on a newsletter, whether that's short-form content through our partners, whether that's animation or even a video, we want to take that information, synthesize it, and help drive awareness and education for our users. That's a good first step. So as a user, I'm educated, I'm aware, I understand what's out there, but I actually need then help with the decision. And so that then what you see on the top right is this idea of a comparison table, right? And for anyone around the world who's used a price comparison website for any industry, you're very familiar with this, right? And this is about how do we take all that information and provide it in a very structured manner to help you actually with the decision. Because it's one thing to be educated and to be aware of what's there, but then it comes down to what's actually the right decision for me as an individual. And comparison tables do this really well, right? So if I've decided that I need to borrow a certain amount of money and what I'm focused on is how quickly I can get a decision. Who can give me an instant decision? Great. Right, with the comparison table, we can answer that for you in an instant. Or if I'm getting an insurance cover and I've realized that this is the part of the coverage that's most important to me, you can go sort that, again, get that answer very quickly, done, you've got it, right? And so with these top two things, this is really the basics of content, which is how do we think about awareness, how do we drive education, and then how do we actually take those and get you to a point of making a decision. And what we've seen around the world is lots of businesses stop there, but for us, that's just the beginning. And the reason for that is that it's one thing to know what I want, it's a whole other thing to get it, right? And so the next step for us is then how do we actually take you from that point of decision to getting the products into your personal portfolio. And so the way that we've done that is actually taking you all the way through that process on our platform, right? So what's this mean? Well, if you're on Money Hero, you've decided you want to buy insurance, you go, you actually get educated, you compare everything that's there, you figure out the product that you want, you actually go all the way through, you know what you want, then you can actually go through, do the checkout, make the payment. We're a licensed insurance broker. We issue you the policy. We're integrated via APIs into the insurance company. And within a couple of minutes from the moment you started, you actually have the policy in your inbox, right? That's actually solving the user problem. Similar, when we think about credit products, what does this mean? Well, you've figured out which product you want. You go, you not only can say this is the product I want, but you can go all the way through that application journey. In some instances in markets, we can actually then give you real-time decisioning, again, via integrations with the banks, integrations with the bureaus, so that you can say, you know what, I'm approved for this amount with this credit limit, this APR, I'm ready to go. Right, and that's been a big evolution because we then moved from just the idea of I want to drive education and awareness towards actually helping people build out that right portfolio. So those three things are really powerful. But what I'm really excited for is where we go next. And the theme of how we take this forward is how do we have a personalized, proactive conversation with every individual around educating them for their specific life circumstances, educating them for their specific product portfolios so that people can make good decisions in this most important area. And so for us, that's then all about how do we actually do that in a way which is data-driven, because that's the only way we can have this meaningful conversation. And that answer is going to look different in every market because the markets are so different. What's really exciting, and I'm excited to share, is in Q3 of this year in Hong Kong, we'll be rolling out a new service we call Credit Go. And this is a big step for how we can help users in a very personalized way to improve their financial health. Now, the way that we do that in Hong Kong is by partnering with the credit bureau, TransUnion, so that we can provide a very data-rich view of everything in your credit history. Because we all have a lot of information in our credit. In Hong Kong, we have great coverage from a bureau standpoint, but very little consumer understanding. And this is something that impacts all of our lives, right? Do I make my payments on time? Okay, I know I should think about that. But then what about things like, well, I've seen those attractive offers for Asia Miles or for a cashback card, so I've started applying for a lot of credit cards lately. How does that impact my credit score, right? And maybe I've started to carry a balance on a card, and I'm starting to pay more on that. Well, how does that impact my financial health, right? These are topics that through the research that we've done and conversations we have with our users, you know, the importance is so high in terms of how we actually, what drives somebody's financial health, but the overall understanding is much lower. And so Credit Go for us is a way that we can have a data-driven conversation at the individual level to help educate you, not just about products in general, still important, not just about the market in general, but how do we actually tee up that right education for you and tee up that right awareness of the right kinds of products for you, and help you actually build that right portfolio of financial products for you as an individual. So that's what Credit Go's about. For those of you who are here in Hong Kong, you'll be able to access that later in Q3. Big step forward towards how we deliver that vision of being trusted and empowering our users to build healthier lives. So if we look at that, we take that all together. We've talked about instant decisions. We've talked about APIs, talked about integrations with banks, insurance companies, credit bureaus. What that leads to, of course, is a much richer data set. So as we have this richer data set, that means that we can have that personalized conversation. With that, we can then start to actually capture your applications. We can take your checkouts. We can take your payments. As we do all this, that gives us higher volumes or more data. And what that allows us to do is to really push towards higher approval rates. And the reason I put this at the center is it's so important because those higher approval rates are a great job of what we're doing to both help the user and to help our partner. Because as a user, it's not helpful to know that somebody in the market can get a low interest rate. What I want to know is, am I getting the best product for me that I'm actually going to get approved for? And for our partners, the question is, are they finding the right kinds of users that they're targeting? And so as we do these integrations and build up our data models, capture more information through our users, get these higher volumes, that allows us to deliver better outcomes for our users and better outcomes for our partners. So, it's a lot of words. What have we actually seen from this? Well, for me, what's exciting, what I love about this, what keeps our team so engaged, is that we can see that we're having a massive impact around the region. So we work with hundreds of partners. We actually have a lot of exclusive deals. What I mean by that is they're the only deals you can get in the market. And so you can see that we've actually had nearly 60 million people drive these comparisons on our platform. Those are instances where people had a question and we helped them answer it. And there are also ways where we start to learn more. We have this fascinating view on our users and their data and what they're looking for and what questions they're asking. And you can see the numbers speak for themselves then, beyond the 60 million comparisons, 20 billion in loan referrals, 3 million credit card referrals. So what this means is that we're in the early stages, but already at scale, of delivering on our vision to really empower people to build healthier financial lives. And by doing that, by having this trusted conversation with our users across the region. So thank you very much.